Hey, good morning. This is Guido from America. Welcome to Coffee Talk.
It's Pilgrim from the United Kingdom. Welcome to Coffee Talk with his cup of tea.
I hope you guys got your coffee or your tea. Welcome to Coffee Talk, the world's premier World of Tanks podcast. I just rebranded us. That just came to me actually while I was indisposed in the facility right before we started. I said, I'm rebranding this a podcast, and I'm not even going to tell Pilgrim. I'm just going to do it on the fly.
No, you just fly by the cuff. I've told you that before. Right. It's this. This is what you fly by.
I think it was a podcast to begin with, but now it's official.
Okay.
Now it's official. Hey guys, welcome. Well, we got a good bunch of stuff on the docket today, talking about tanks. Standard stuff though. We're going to talk about channel news. So what have I been doing? Safe and hunkered down, sort of. We're sort of opening up here in Florida. How are you guys doing there, vis-a-vis the apocalypse?
Yeah, they have opened it up a bit. We're sort of nothing's different for us because we're both working, as we said last time. So nothing's really different for us. We don't socialise or anything with people because it's still that part of lockdown. So we're on sort of 2 meters, but you can go out for the day if you want to, and so on. So a little bit of a slacking of the rules, but.
Perfect.
I'm happy on my back garden.
Yeah, I always, turns out my hermit lifestyle was actually perfectly predisposed for a pandemic. Didn't really hurt me at all, Drive some of my family crazy. But all right, so I am back to the 100 Battle Challenge. I've knocked out a few of those, did that on stream. Right now you can see I've got the Udez 16 up, which is driving me crazy. I want to like that tank, Tier 9 Swedish medium. Probably the worst of their medium line, to be quite honest. Very difficult to use, and I'm not doing particularly well in it as far as win rate, but getting close to 100 battles on that, and I've done a couple others as well. My next stream will be on Monday, which will be tomorrow from 4 to 6 on stackup.org. A couple of you guys have come by. Just when you get in there, go ahead and search stackup.org on Twitch. Maybe I can I can find the link, and I'll try to put that down. I don't know if I have it down with my links, but I'll put the stack up link down there too for you guys. So we'll see you on Monday. And then I think Friday is my day off. I have a long weekend next weekend. So if I get one in between, it'll be a pop-up. So that's what's going on from there. We got big news, Pilgrim, right, for the contest.
We have.
Yes.
Yeah, apparently Wargaming. I mean, this is not rumour because Guido's naturally got it sorted, but Wargaming are going to contribute towards the competition. Excellent. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
what are they contributing?
They're going to pitch in a Tier 8, guys. So they've got another Tier 8. So there's going to be 2 Tier 8s in play. And then a couple lower tiers, which I'm still negotiating. I'm going to push for a Tier 6, but it'll be a Tier 6 or Tier 5 lower tier. Anything at the time of the end of the contest when we pick the winner, anything in the shop that is not a giant package, so to speak. So just the individual tank. And There you go. So we've got 4 tanks, and then of course Pilgrim generously is going to donate to stackup.org $50 or shillings or whatever. And
the Queen's shillings, sir.
What do you guys use, pesos? What's going on?
Anything that sounds very small, like pesos or anything like that, that's fine.
$50 to StackUp and $50 to the charity of your choice. So that'll be pretty cool. Some of that may depend on international stuff, so obviously be flexible. If he's able to actually... Most charities can take money from anywhere, really, but just be aware that if you've got some strange charity in Romania that only takes shillings, you might be out.
And no personal charities like Pilgrim's Tank Fund or I ain't donated to that.
That's genius, actually. Someone was going to come up with that. That's good. You cut that right off at the knees. That's not happening now. As always, I think that's it for channel news. As always, remember to Guido grind. I just made that up. That is my code, guys. Guido grind. I'm sorry. It's what I came up with. Mistakes were made. But anyway, if you want a Guido grind, go ahead and do so. But don't record it or let me know about it because I don't want to know. All right, awesome.
Your kids must be embarrassed by you.
Oh, God, constantly. I am the worst dad joke guy ever. But not worst, best. To them, worst. To me, best.
Yeah.
All right, missions and specials, guys. Let's take a look at the website and see what we got going on here. All right, we got. All right, so the Tank Master missions have changed. Wave 3 is up. It's the Progetto 65. It is the Conway, the Tiger P, and the 5916. Those are pretty good choices, actually.
Yeah.
People play quite a few of those tanks, so that'll be cool. We have the Road to Berlin is over. As a matter of fact, while Pilgrim and I were talking, the garages switched over. As I was looking at it, I was looking at the Road to Berlin garage, and I saw a flash, and I was back to the standard garage, which you can see in the background right there. So, goodbye, Road to Berlin. What else is going on here? It is a triple XP weekend. We'll see that in the UI. There's 3 pretty good missions, and you're getting large kits. Isn't that fantastic? There seems to be a lot of large kits coming out now as prizes. That's actually pretty cool. And then some personal reserves as well. The crew, the XP, and I think you can get the other one here. Yes, and regular XP. So crew, free XP, and the regular XP are all in play. And they're not very hard to do. And you could have done them, I believe, over 3 days. So today's your last day on the ×3 weekend.
I mean, to be fair to Wargaming, they do put a lot of good stuff out, don't they? You know, of all the freebies they give out, the stuff that you would use credits for, you know, they do, you know, give a lot of it out. Yeah, so it's cool.
Holy cow! We forgot to shill, Pilgrim.
We need to do that.
Oh, geez, let's go to the premium shop and sell some stuff. All right, Thunderbolt. The Thunderbolt is back. Oh, this is one thing I wanted to talk about. Do you have the Thunderbolt for sale in the UK?
Yeah.
Okay. What's showing next, right underneath it?
Panhard.
Yes, the EBR is for sale. Now we're going to talk about the EBR later on in the podcast, and about my video and about a video with Andrei Beletsky that he did with Circon, which you may have seen. Nice 2-hour video. But what I want to mention here in the shilling part is, isn't it interesting, Pilgrim, that while we're talking about nerfing wheeled tanks, that before the nerf is really kind of advertised and happens, they're selling it again?
Yeah, I mean, cynical is as cynical does.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, is it really a planned thing? Does it just have bad optics? I don't know. I don't know.
Do you know what? Here we go. In the EU, they aren't selling it.
They're not.
They're not selling it. They've got it. I've got it on my NA premium shop.
You're kidding me.
In the EU, let me just double check. They're not selling it. Not as a special like that, anyway. Let me just see if it's in the main account.
Well, you just like destroying my conspiracy theories today, don't you?
No, well, you know what I had clicked up? I had the NA server clicked up.
Oh, I see.
Didn't realise.
I see.
So when I went to the premium shop, I went, yeah, it's there. And then I've just realised that it's not the EU one. So, but
here I was about to launch into a giant conspiracy by Wargaming to try to bilk millions of players because of the now you're telling me it's not even for sale in the EU.
No, not yet.
All right. Conspiracy
Thunderbolt is.
Yeah, but that's not conspiracy. There's no conspiracy there.
Yeah.
All right. The Tiger 131. We've got the Pretty Fly, the TL1 LPC, which is a pretty good medium tier 8. And nothing else really to mention right there. Let's go to gold. I don't see any interesting packages there, so to speak, other than some of the little ones. Oh, there's those gold drip things. Are they back? All right, so these gold drip things, I talked about them probably 5 or 6 months ago when they came out. And they're kind of odd because they'll give you 17,800 gold and then 20 missions to get more gold.
Yeah.
Which means you have to do the missions, and you have to be in the top 10 XP earners. It turns out to be a bit of a discount on the gold, but remember, you've got to do the mission, so you're sort of on the hook to retrieve your gold that you supposedly paid for. Although Wargaming would tell you paid for the gold and you paid for the missions. Whether or not you do the missions is up to you. So I don't know about that one, guys. But if you can get it done, then it's worth a little bit more to you. It's a really strange way to do it, man. I don't know how to feel about that one. What do you think about that one?
I think it's a very clever marketing scheme, isn't it? They're going to make money based on they've got missions attached to the price of the gold.
Right.
And if those people don't do the missions, then the wargaming don't have to give the rest of the gold out. So they're
See, that's what I'm kind of thinking. That's sort of the way I'm looking at it. And again, you mentioned earlier the cynical thing. Are we cynical? Are they cynical? Are we both cynical? Yeah, a little bit. But I guess for me, and maybe this is the American coming out in me, if I'm going to buy something, I just want to buy it.
Yeah.
I don't want to jump through a hoop to get the rest of the gold. But of course, the counter argument is, well, you're not really. You paid for some missions to get extra gold. You're already getting a good deal. It's kind of really the same argument for the Christmas boxes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sort of. But anyway, let's move on.
It is strange.
Yeah. It is a strange. I guess they sell them, right, folks, because they are selling them again. So it must be something that is working for them. Premium days, nothing to add there. We got the vehicles tab. I think it's all the same vehicles. I didn't find anything interesting there other than you've still got these packages on the NA server for the various nationalities. USA, German, British, French, Soviet, and then United Nations Shield, which is a combo of multiple things. And
we did some work on when you put this out last week, and some of the comments down below I think are quite right. I think it is tied into the vets thing because I don't see it on my NA server shop, and it's certainly not on the Euro one. So maybe if you're signed up to the vets thing, those little packages get dropped down.
Well, that's a good point, and I should look at this because if you look in the top right where they have the little discount thing, it says available for you 1. So that's specifically for me for whatever the reason is, the vet thing or other things you've done in the game or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's a good point. These are not always available to everybody at the same time, all at once and at the same time. So if we go to Specials, Panhard, I don't think there's anything else here. The Turn It Up is still there. The Berlin Bundle is still available. You can still buy tickets for the anniversary. By the way, I didn't mention this, but the pause is over today, and they restart the anniversary phase 2 or whatever it is tomorrow. So there'll be more missions.
In 22 hours, isn't it?
Yeah. So there'll be more missions for more tickets. I still haven't bought anything. I know a couple people mentioned in the comments that they had bought some of the styles and things, and also reading in the forums. Some people had already spent some of their tickets. It's looking more and more like it's only going to be the T30 skin as the final prize because they mentioned it again. But I'm holding out hope, man. I know it's not much hope, but I'm really hoping there's something more interesting than the final prize being a T30 skin. I don't care. I don't.
At the end of the day, you're not going to lose anything because you've still got those counters, tickets, coins, whatever they're called.
Yep.
And when they do their final roundup, if it's nothing really special, then just go and spend it on kits or whatever you can buy with it. So you're not going to lose anything by saving it all up.
So hoard your coins, man. Hoard them and your personal reserves, and never use them. Just sit on them.
Personal reserves. I've got about 1,000 of them.
It's like freaking.
I do use them, but
like Smog sitting on your pile of gold.
Yeah. Yeah, the Hobbit. I do come from the Shires after all, sir.
Yeah, that's true. You are a little hobbitish over there.
Pilgrim the Hobbit, great.
Well, Tolkien did say that the race is kind of melded into humanity through the ages,
Right,
he says there's still people with hairy feet out there. They're related to hobbits.
There is.
This is
pointy ears.
This is a factual history he wrote. I don't know what are you laughing about?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I mean, the Welsh
teach you at officer school.
The Welsh have a picture of Smog on their bloody flag.
Well, yeah, exactly. But that's the Welsh. They are actually hobbits.
Wellas.
They are.
Wellas.
Yeah, Wellas.
I think that is Smog. Did you know that's the only flag that has a dragon on it in the world?
Really?
Yeah, apparently. That's interesting. I don't know if I believe that. Well, my uncle over there, by marriage, did a Zoom, got the whole family together, and we did a Zoom trivia contest, which was a lot of fun. So everyone on the Zoom thing, and he did all the questions, and they were mostly British oriented or England oriented. But that was the question, and maybe he said the only UK flag, but I think he said the only flag in the world that has a dragon on it. I guessed Wales
No, I'd imagine so,
because I knew where he
I mean,
lived.
the obvious places would be China or something like that.
Right.
But, we don't, do they? So,
Yeah.
yeah, why not? Well, that's worth looking into. Google it.
God, we really went off track. That was a really great tangent. A really great tangent. All right. Where were we? We were shilling. What else we got? I think there's nothing else here really that I want to talk about. That's it. Yeah. All right. So that's the shilling. What else we got going on, Pilgrim, with missions and things? I guess we're gonna have to go to the UI.
Go to the UI.
Yeah, go to the UI and check the rest of that. Here we go. Hold on to your hats, people. Okay, so we come over here and we're gonna take a look at missions. Remember, there's no events going on right now.
There's not a single event.
How is none of these an event? That's crazy. Battle Pass. I'm on current stage 40 of the overtime or whatever it's called.
Yeah, only 23 for me because I'm just dipping into that at the moment.
Oh, so
I'm only doing 10 to 15 games a night at the moment. So
Elite Progression is what it's called.
Right.
Elite Progression. So I'm on 40, which is nice because I'll get 250 bonds. And I'm getting close. What I want to do is get to 15,000 bonds so I can have enough.
65, isn't it? Yeah, you want another tank, don't you?
Sure, if they change that out, which I don't have any essay on, that'd be nice. Okay. Oh, Act 3 just got put in. Okay, so we can talk about that. Yep. That's a good deal. Yep. I can't count. Those Roman numerals are hard.
Act 2.
Yes, it's Act 2, isn't it?
Yeah. Churchill 2.
All right. Anniversary missions during Breather Phase. That's what I can never remember. That's currently today. So Anniversary mission Phase 2 or whatever it is starting tomorrow. So we'll see what those missions are. I don't see any advertisements on that. Other than the fact that it's right in front of me saying Act 2 right there. Whew. Yeah. I may need some more coffee.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. In fact, do you want a cup of tea?
Mm-hmm.
Bring your cup over.
Here you go. All right. All right, Act 2 Without Remorse. What do we got here? This is real time, fellas. Damage caused, 10 tickets. Okay, so it's again that damage caused thing, so you're just going to do damage and get your tickets. That's okay. Simon says freeze. That's going to be, oh boy, destroying tracks. Great.
Destroying tracks, yeah. That's going to be interesting.
3, oh my goodness gracious. Just, okay. Destroy 1 track, 2 track, 3 track, 4 track, 5. All right. Tough nut to crack. Please tell me this is not blocking. Oh, good Lord, it's blocking.
Yeah. That is blocking. Look at that.
Oh, God.
Just how many Mouses are going to be out there? How many, how many hold down conquerors are you going to find out there?
Let me get Excalibur out.
Yeah. Yes, it's eyeball stabbing time.
Yes. Let me get my eye poking sticks out. All right. So blocking mission. Great. So that's those. What's the top one? Is this? This must be over time, not in a single mission. Yes,
has to be. May the 25th.
Has to be over time because look at the last one. It's 9,500. Certainly they wouldn't make it all in one game. So okay, fair enough. It's over time. Got it. Should be done pretty easily. Well, wait a minute. So freeze is definitely in one battle. It says in one battle on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Please, Wargaming, stop with the blocking missions. I mean, come on, man.
No, it says block a total of 9,500 HP of damage over any number of battles. So
good.
Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? Oh, I've said that word. It is what it is.
What it is. It is what it is. Still, though, the blocking missions are dopey. It makes you do stuff that doesn't matter necessarily in the game. It's not a primary thing to do. At least the tracking thing is sort of primary, but I don't know. I don't like.
Well, it's very individual, then, isn't it? If you're doing a blocking damage mission, you're not contributing to effective fire. You're not contributing to effective gameplay because you could sit back and just block damage all day just to get your turn.
Yeah. So it can definitely be important in the certain situation you're in.
Yes. Yeah.
You'd rather block than soak up a shot, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're prioritizing the blocking, that's not good for gameplay or the team. I don't like these missions that are based on things that are secondary and tertiary things you do in the game. That while they are important, they're not primary to winning. Like kill things, do damage, track things, spot
well,
things.
how many times have you had battles where somebody's got themselves onto cap and there's 2 or 3 enemy left, and you know you can get that damage, and somebody goes, "No, it's a mission. I'm sitting on the cap because it's a mission."
Right.
Well,
yeah.
Get off the cap, please.
Yep.
And you're like, well, okay.
God, that is such a good point, because what a that's painful, because now anytime you're like, get off cap, let's kill these guys, in the back of your mind you're always thinking, poor sucker, that poor sap might have a mission.
Yeah.
Now, is that every time someone jumps on the cap? Unlikely.
Yeah.
Unlikely.
There are very few missions where you need to cap, isn't there?
Yeah. But could be, right? So there's always, what is it, the reasonable level of doubt kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway. Tournament missions, yep, those are still going. Heavy tank courses, that's going to be the Tank University stuff. We won't worry about that. Watt Salute is ongoing. That is the ID Me. Interesting thing on that. Did you note the guy that commented that said that Canada actually does the ID Me for discounts? I did not. That is it. I wonder why they can't use it then to give them the discount in World of Tanks, or to give them the admissions and stuff. I wonder why.
Isn't that because you can sign up for it in Canada, the vets.
I mean, it's possible there's some kind of international rule in Canadian law that stops them from tapping into that for that purpose.
It could be a tax thing. It could be, I don't know. It's a monetary thing maybe.
It could be a conspiracy against Canadian veterans.
Who would conspire against Canadians? I love them to bits.
God, that's a great. They're so nice, aren't they? Yeah.
Aren't they just? They're one of their top regiments is called the Vandus. I mean, even the regimental names are nice. Vandus, nice Vandu. I'm gonna get slated for this.
The Vandus never don't.
Well, they don't.
No, they never don't. They're always do. It's like a pelican. You've never seen a pelican, have you?
No. We're off tangent here. We're like over there now. Dad jokes and everything. It's terrible.
No Vandu. All right, let's see. Where were we? Goodness gracious. On Track to the 268 is going on right now. I've seen a lot of those lately. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Obviously it's On Track. That was a dumb thing to say. Times 3 first win weekend. That's what we talked about. Let's see, if you play 3 battles and win, wait a minute, victory screech. Play a battle. Oh, I see, you need 13 coins to get this. Okay, so you get 13 of their tokens. So if you get 20, I have 13. You get 20 penetration tokens, you get a couple personal reserves and some emblems. So, God, I don't know. Do you put emblems on your tanks? I don't. I have a handful of tanks with them, but I don't bother with it too much. I think some of the bigger, they're not. Are they emblems? They have different names for them. The big ones, whatever they're called.
Whatever they're called. I mean, I've got the smiling teeth on the Manticore only because you've led the way. I mean,
right.
Monty with the big.
Monty has to have them teethers out there, man.
Yeah, but apart from that, I don't. I've got a Death's Head on my Death Star because it seemed to fit, and that's about it. But I don't put anything else on it, so I'll just do the camo.
Yeah, I mean, I use the ones that are cool, and I like the big ones that you can see, but the little ones I don't care for too much. No. But whatever.
Yeah, well, there's historical ones that people perhaps like to, if they're into that, they will do historical ones. So
there you go. We got community hunting is ongoing. That's for the gold. I think that is for the sheriff accounts if you kill them.
Definitely, I think.
I don't know, because is it no longer in other missions? Maybe it is now there. No, because Hunt the Sheriffs is still in other missions.
Still there. That's what I mean.
So I'm confuzzled on that. I'm going to ask that question again. Starry Night Challenge. Starry Night Challenge. I have finished. I bet everyone's finished that. So remember, if you're interested in Master of Orion, which is another wargaming title, I played it a little bit. I plan to go back to it, and I'll do a review on it. But it's free. So once you finish that challenge, go download it off of their whatever that thing's called, Wargaming Center.
Yeah, no, I've got it on the Wargaming Center. It's cool. Yeah. But I just dip into it, and you can save the game where you leave off, and you can carry on. It's
turn-based, yeah. So if you don't want to do the PvP thing, or you don't want to do the online thing, just chill out playing some Master of Orion. I think it's time limited, so you might want to get on it if you're interested on that. Multipliers are on track, standard stuff, medium tank. The tank rewards still going. I am almost at the 5th or 4th, almost at the 4th reward for that. So tomorrow I'll trip that. Make sure you're going to tankrewards.com, guys. Tankrewards.com, and go see how many. It does it automatically. So if you've never done this before, I'm going to say it again. Go to tankrewards.com and get your goodies. It's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to have to log in, and you'll use your Wargaming login. It's a Wargaming website. It's all full up. No trickery. Make sure you go get your stuff if you don't. If you've never done it, you've got goodies waiting for you there. Tank Destroyer and then other missions. I think that's pretty much it, other than the daily stuff, but there's nothing new to talk about there. No. All right. Excellent. So that's all of the missions and specials. What else did we want to talk about there? We talked about Tank Rewards. Goes to 30 May. Remember to get your Twitch Prime Starry Night. That's still ongoing. And I think that's it. Is there any other missions and specials we missed there?
No, I think we've covered them all because, I mean, if you need to go into the UI and you'll have a look at it, you've got Battle Pass still up there, but everything else is...
All right, cool.
You've got your dailies, there's just loads of stuff you can get for free.
Yeah, tons of stuff. All right, we got a lot of good stuff for Subjects du Jour, so we'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back. I had to recharge my coffee, and it looks like Pilgrim got his tea going.
Absolutely.
All right, Subjects du Jour. Subjects du Jour. We're going to go ahead and call up Chrome here because I've got Rita's status report with the update 191 Common Test 1. So 1.9.1 is on the way. Ranked Battles is going to get a bit of an overhaul. There's going to be some special standalone daily missions for different vehicle roles, which makes me want to stab my eyes out. So they're doubling down on this vehicle role idea. I wonder if they're going to change the arty as far as what they can do in their role, because they got so much experience for stunning people and just doing what arty does naturally, as opposed to other tanks where they would say, all right, it's the glass cannon, so its role is to shoot people 300 meters or more. And it gets extra experience for that. I don't know if that was the rule, but there's stuff like that in there. Or you're a Mal, so you get extra experience for being close or bouncing or whatever. Which is all fine, but sometimes maps don't really facilitate that role. No. And sometimes based on what's going on in the map, you have to do something different. I cannot stand the role experience idea. But they're doubling down on that. They think that's a good deal. They're going to have more bounty equipment. So the bounty optics and bounty vertical stab. There it is. Here comes the bounty vertical stab. The one that concerns me the most there, Pilgrim, bounty optics.
Yeah. Just how much of an increase on the view range is that going to give?
Well, I think it's 10%, right, already?
Right, yeah.
So I'm assuming it's 12.5, but still, the optics thing, the view range thing is critical in this game. Mm. And giving good players extra burn through and view range on their tanks, I think is a really, really bad idea. Really bad idea.
If you've got the 440 max view range, what makes the difference in a battle is the burn through. So you can bring any tank up to 440 by crew skills or whatever.
So 440 or 445?
Virtually, is it 440, 445?
Whatever.
You can bring that. Most tanks you can bring up. I'm not sure about the lower tiers, but you can certainly bring it up to that using skills. But it's the burn through. So if you end up with 20% or 22% burn through because you've got enhanced optics, it's a game changer again. It's about all these game changers we've talked about. You know, giving somebody that distinct advantage. Okay, Wargaming is saying, well, everybody can have it. You've just got to buy it, or you've got to win it, or you've got to get it. You know, but we'll provide it for everybody. But if you're not in a position to get that particular enhanced piece of equipment, you're immediately at a disadvantage. Immediately, you're on back foot.
Well, and I'm not going to submit myself to the misery of ranked battles. Maybe they're going to improve it enough this time that it's interesting. I'll probably give it a shot like I have the other two seasons. But it's been so completely painful and such uncompelling gameplay that the only reason most people stayed into it, at least going anecdotally by watching the forums and talking to players, talking to the CCs even, without, I won't name names or anything like that, but talking to some of the CCs, the general consensus is it's absolutely painful, and they're only there for the rewards, and that's just bad.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and if you take data from that and saying, "Ooh, look, X number of the player base plays this mode, it must be good. Let's keep developing it." No, it's shite. It is. The rewards are decent. Now, to be fair, there are people who do like it. So there you go. You know, it's never a all or nothing thing. No. If you're talking in extremes, then you're going to get extreme opinions about your crappy opinion. But I think overall that it's less popular than they think it is. I think people play it. A good number of people play it only because they're getting rewards, not because it's compelling gameplay.
Yeah, and it's not so much rewards; it's the ultimate rewards. It's the op tank at the end of it. So, people will play it for that. And if you're going to base your data collation on that, then it's skewed. It's skewed because people are not playing it for the reason you think they're playing it for.
So back to the optics thing. Here's my thing: that when you are at the top of the game, and I'm talking, even better than I am, to a large extent, someone who is dark blue and above, you get a lot of this dancing around the draw range to the view range thing, and you've got the burn through, like you said, which makes it even better. So you're catching tanks that have camo a little bit closer than you would, or more, or a lot closer, depending on how good it is. Because those players live in that little tiny narrow band, a lot of times, every little bit of advantage there matters in seeing the other guy first.
Absolutely.
And when you let a very good player who knows how to work in that band, and then you give him a little bit more view range, that is exponentially more powerful. Now, you can make that argument for any advantage you give them, but because it's the I see you thing, as opposed to, well, I reload a little faster or I have a little bit better gun handling, important stuff. But this is the one that says I shoot you first or not.
Absolutely.
The rest of it,
damage him first. You're already on the top, or you're already on the top foot, because you've taken hit points off your enemy before he even knows you're there. And then, of course, if it's a trade, you're already ahead of the game on the trade. So absolutely. See first, damage first is a winner in my book every time.
Because isn't it a great idea to give your EBR 105 drivers another 2.5% view range? That seems like a really good idea.
Yeah. Whoever's sitting back there with creative content going, the EBR needs sorting out. It hasn't got enough view range because it's got nothing special about it at all.
Now, to be honest, I would love to put that on some of my scouts.
Yeah.
Right? Personally, that seems like a great deal. But if I'm honest about overall gameplay, I think it's a horrendously bad idea. Yeah. But there you go. It is in the mix. Now, remember, this is test, and there's a caveat that says these are just the ones we're testing. They're not necessarily going to be the ones that are released. So there you go. It's possible it doesn't happen. There's daily bonus battles, like I talked about. Eat credit each day, depending on how many chevrons. I thought they already had that. Anyway.
I thought you don't receive a chevron after the.
Yeah, they'll give you more points.
Yeah, they've changed the mechanics slightly, haven't they?
Yeah. Now, Bounty Battle Pass also is getting some tweaks. And it looks like they're talking about Bounty Optics and Bounty Vert Stab for that as well. So there were 2 rewards in Battle Passes, remember, but remember, one of them you had to pay for. I'm not really sure which they would put. Let's say they actually put Optics and Vert Stab in. Which one would be the paid for one? I don't know.
I bet it's V-Stab.
Might be, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I bet it is.
Even though I would consider the Optics more dangerous.
More dangerous.
We just talked about. But so the second season starts on, what did we say, June 10th, I believe.
Yeah.
Is the second season. Provided it's bookended and starts immediately. That I don't know. Maybe that's been advertised, but I'm not sure. New Berlin map, that's cool. We were just discussing this in between. That our collective question, Pilgrim and I, is whether all of the various cover pieces in the Berlin map that was on Road to Berlin will be there, much like the other maps where they added a lot of cover into those maps. Here's the thing I just thought about: how cool would it be if they had some of that cover on some of those maps to change them up a little bit?
Oh, absolutely! You would get away with a canalization of maps if you could do that sort of cover, that sort of route changes that you can do with that sort of. I mean, a prime example. I can't remember which one it is now. It's the one that has a small city bit in it. I'll remember the name of the map, and then it's got a complete open field on the
Siegfried.
side. Yeah, that's the one. They've got little berms like that, which are fantastic because you can play off that both sides. The enemy can play into that, and you can play off that, and you get little firing holes and all that. I mean, a lot better.
But that's what we've talked about in the past, though, because what I would say is not, take it and just plop them down and make different versions. What I would do is make it dynamic if they could, so that when the map's generated for that battle, it's got these things. Now, that's I suppose if they generated one like that and then used it for an hour, because trying to keep track of which map on the server is doing what would be an order of magnitude on the back end. But if they just were able to generate that map for that day, for that hour it's in rotation with just a few extra, not a bunch, just a few extra pieces of those cover in there just to change it up, that would be really cool. Dynamic maps, Wargaming.
Yeah.
I think
would that be like on a special mode, or would it just be in?
I would put it in randoms, man.
And let it rotate.
And it doesn't have to be a huge redo. Just look at your maps and add some different color cover things around it, and then allow the server to pick 3 to add in. And maybe they don't change.
You could class it instead of it because you've got encounter, and what's the other one? Defense, and then the normal. You could put it into that, so it'd be a 4th alternative.
And let people, if they didn't like it, let people opt out.
Yeah, something like that.
All right.
I mean,
There you go. Random thoughts by Guido and Pilgrim. Berlin map. It is a pretty map, though. We were talking about that. We did. It's very cool. Like you said, it's got the Reichstag and the Brandenburg Gate.
Yeah.
Lots of ruination and whatnot. Pretty cool. All right. I think it's actually a little bit more open than that area was, though, at the time. As I'm looking at it, I'm like, I think there were more buildings closer by, but there you have it.
Well, it wasn't it. Well, it was generally flattened, wasn't it? By a lot.
Yeah, it was. But I think there were like broken down buildings much closer to it than what shows in there. But generally, pretty well done historically. Customization mechanics. We talked a little bit about this last week, and it's got some details here. It looks like as you kind of do missions, then your customizable, what do they call it? Projection decals or progressive customization decals change. In theory, I guess they're getting better, but I don't know. What if you liked the number 1 better than the number 5? I don't know.
Yeah. Would you want to change it? And also, the word projection decals, it confuses me. Does that mean it projects itself off the side of the tank? So it hovers above the tank? I don't know. What does projection?
No, it says can be applied to the entire side of the tank for all tiers.
Oh, okay. So it can be quite.
Yeah, you've seen the ones with flags and stuff.
Yeah.
And
like the teeth, like Monty's teeth.
Yeah. But there's some that you can just splash the flag across the whole side of the thing right there.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's okay. Oh, that's fairly cool. It looks good. I wouldn't do it on my tanks, but I've seen it on the game, and it looks cool.
Yeah, so I think the projection ones just mean, like you said, they're just going across the side. Tweakable styles. No, wait a minute. Progressive customization, projection decals. What is tweakable? Those are those the ones that you give
available for gold, though. So we've had this last week.
Are those the ones you give the meth to? Give the meth and they start tweaking?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just catching up with that actually. But we'll call it the lag, the internet lag. I've just got it.
That is exactly the reaction I get from my son. That was perfect. The joke gets fired out, and he's like, "Yeah, Dad, whatever." Look, man, I pay you to laugh at all my jokes, Pilgrim.
I know I'm laughing, but there's a lag. It's internet lag.
There's no pay. Nobody's getting paid. All right.
Not enough anyway.
No. That actually reminds me of something. Since this is the channel of getting into the background, maybe you should get paid something, seeing as I'm profiting off you sitting there. These videos make like 50 cents.
We'll leave that.
Maybe I'll send you a tier 3 or something tank.
Yeah. One that I can give away, you mean?
Yeah. Well, you can sell it for silver and you'll have a garage slot. There you go.
Yeah, give me an artillery piece, why don't you?
Low tier vehicle tweaks. Some of the small lower tier vehicles are getting tweaks, but the one that you and I saw that was interesting, I thought the most interesting, is the KV-1S is getting gun handling buffs, guys. So if you remember from 4 or 5 years ago, the KV-1S was the absolute terror of Tier 6. And every organized battle that ever happened at Tier 6 had KV-1Ss all over it, as well as Hellcats, in pre-nerf Hellcats, pre-nerf KV-1Ss, T50-2s, I believe, as well. This is not going back to the long-barreled 122, but they are improving the gun handling. 0.52 down to 0.48. There's less, after firing, 25% less dispersion, which is nice. Although it's such a long reload, I don't know if that matters. You know what I mean? I think it's zoomed in well before.
Yeah, so I guess it's just because you can settle your aim and away you go for the next shot, isn't it? So
I really didn't think about that because I'm looking at that going, is that even going to matter? But anyway, the turret traverse speed went from 28 to 31. So a slight buff. Not massive, but a slight buff to the KV-1S's derp, and as well as the 85 as well. It's 85 millimeters going to be minus 5 degrees depression, which I agree with, because minus 3.5 is you even hit a little tiny bump and all of a sudden your gun is above the guy's turret. So that I don't know if any tank, other than some of the strange ones that are rear turreted and stuff, should have anything.
The Japanese stuff, yeah,
it should have anything less than 0.6 or minus 6. Yeah. It's just because of the way the game is designed and the maps are and where the rubble is and hold down and all, ridges and things. Anything less than minus 6 is painful gameplay wise. Yeah. Definitely.
The thing is, Wargaming, when they do, also I've noticed that when they do some of the micro patches and they do some of the changes to the maps and they do some of the dynamics, they've increased the size of rubble piles and things like that, because there are some spots on the maps that I used to be able to snipe through that now have a larger rubble pile, so I can't get you can't get the depression through. So they're very clever at doing these little things but not saying anything about it. Until you get to that spot and you go, I can't use that now. What's happened? That's happened a couple of times.
I think that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially if it's an overpowered spot that needed to be sorted out or made more difficult to use or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so that is that. That's all of the that is all of the 1.9.1. So the next thing we're going to talk about, guys, is we're going to go over here to my channel, and we're going to talk, because I put a video out called "This Just Isn't Fun," and I know I've been promising for a long time a EBR screed, and I hope it wasn't quite a screed, but it was certainly negative towards EBR, and it got a lot of action. So you guys definitely piled in and gave your comments, and I think close to 100% agreement. And our community, somebody mentioned that, by the way, instead of saying my community.
That's a good
I
one.
like that. Our community, and I kind of knew this anyway based on my interaction with you guys. Our community is basically negative against the way the EBRs are mech'd right now, and their, in our opinion, negative effect on the game. So I thought the comments were actually pretty good in there, and definitely appreciate all the different comments that you guys put in. And I don't know. So what did you think about that video there, Pilgrim?
I on the whole agreed with it. In fact, all the points that you brought out were very salient and they were absolutely accurate. I like the way that the community responded, and they've virtually come down to a man to say, "Yeah, we agree with what you're saying." They have their place in the game. I get that. I get Wargaming need to do that for whatever reasoning behind the marketing, the monetarization, whatever it is about this particular class of tank they've introduced to bring more players in. I get it. But I think the crux of the matter, and you said it quite well in your video, is that they need to be balanced against what the class of tank they're being put into. So they're in the class of light tanks, Scouts lights.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be so much better at doing that and everything else that they just override the game. They just make each match just unplayable by any other class of tank because it's getting overrun. So when you talked about sorting out the auto aim, sorting out things like they have this dynamic where they can never flip over and damage. Damaging the wheels should actually do the same as what it does to a track vehicle and so on. All that is applicable and absolutely 100%. I get it. I like I've got the FL, I've got the EBRFL. I haven't grinded the wheel tanks because I'm not going to add to the problem. And I refuse to do that. But I did get, when the premium came out, I did try it. I like the fact, I like the dynamics, it's a bit of fun. But I immediately recognised how OP that is. As soon as I put it into front lines, it was like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, your point's well taken. They are fun, and I've said that every time. It's a lot of fun to rage around and circle jerk poor heavy that can't even get his gun on you. Obviously, everyone likes to beat the other guy, but if you take an objective look at what they've done to the game, and we won't go so far as to say they've destroyed it. We don't need to be hyperbole like that, but it's a net negative, I think, for the game overall, and especially for our community, the older gamer who was attracted to World of Tanks because of its more stately pace, is what I like to say. Yes, there are some twitch elements. There are fast, light tanks, but this took it to an extra level.
Yeah.
And they just don't fit. And I know Wargaming, so this is our segue into the interview with Andrei Beletsky.
Yeah.
Who talked to Sircon for about 2 hours. A really good video. If you got the time to watch it, you can get a lot of insight. Andre was, what did you say, Pilgrim? Where did he come from?
Well, his background was Warner Brothers and Ubisoft, so you can sort of get an idea where he's coming from with the game style. Just mention he's the creative director for World of Tanks, so he's the man that's putting this content in. He's the top guy who's
right. I mean, he's not the balance guy and he's not the designer, but he's the overall director of where's the direction of this game is going.
Yeah. And so his background is very telling, because Warner Brothers and Ubisoft, well, you start to think of, Twitch games. You start to think of, the sort of COD type games.
Rainbow Six or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Tom
Rainbow
Clancy stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought that was telling.
That's come in.
Yeah, absolutely. But he admitted to the fact that was the first thing. Sircon went right after him with the wheel tank.
He was like, "Get in there."
And I don't mean right after him as in adversarial. Sircon did a really nice job. He just asked direct questions, said, hey, what's the deal with the wheel tanks? And we got, it was, oh man, I don't know. There was some corporate speak in there.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of double talk, but it wasn't gross, and it was nothing that you would not expect from a guy who is leading creative direction, right? So he was, I think, as straightforward as he could be while sticking to his guns for his company, even though I didn't necessarily agree with everything he said. And he was talking about 3 different things they were looking at changing, and one of them was the tracking thing or getting slowed down. What was the other 2?
It was the auto aim, which he didn't see as a great problem, and to lose mobility.
Yeah.
So to decrease the mobility. And what he also said, he admitted on screen that the tier 10 is OP. He admitted it was overpowered.
Yeah.
Great on him. He was honest. He said, "Yeah, we admit the tier 10 has a problem."
I thought it was interesting as Sircon was talking to him, and I happen to agree with this thing I've been saying for a long time as well. I think the 6 and 7, and to a large extent the Tech Tree 8, the Lynx, are reasonable.
Yes, you can counter them. You can play against them.
Right, but when you get to the FL10, the EBR90, and especially the 105, and in terms of speed, the 90 and the 105 are the worst offenders.
Yeah,
they're very, very difficult to hit, and it is also telling that he didn't think the extra auto aim was a problem. I think that's probably more the FPS guy in him going, you want to hit stuff that you're shooting at.
Yeah.
So let's just make a magic auto aim that people can use, which personally, I think if you simply removed that, I'm going to go out on a limb.
That would make a massive difference, yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. If all you did was remove the magic auto aim, it would decrease their effectiveness a lot. Now, it wouldn't stop the raging around. It wouldn't stop the getting in and spotting people before the other lights. So there's other problems left over. It would not stop the fact that you can't slow them down really effectively.
Yeah.
Practically, I mean, the mechanics there, but it doesn't happen really in the real world. But it would stop the strafing capability and limit their ability to put the gun online as fast as they can and snap the living shit out of people.
Yeah,
And
because what comes with that is an automatic decrease in mobility. Because if you take the auto aim, the magic auto aim off that tank, you have to slow that tank down. Personally, if you were playing it, you would have to slow down to get the aim, to get the shot. So immediately you're reducing the mobility of your own tank.
or if you didn't, you're not getting the shot.
Exactly.
Right. So
exactly
you can
that.
make the spotting run and the ridge run, and you can flail around like a sprayed roach, but you're not going to also drop 390 on somebody as you pop over the moment you're there, blap, and get away. You'll pop over and see them, but you're going to have a harder time getting your gun online and getting that shot.
And if you want to shoot and you want to take damage off the enemy, then you're slowing yourself down to the point where the enemy can at least have a go back at you.
And I would say
make it fair.
If one of the goals was to give the Twitch players a mode where they could actually, use their Twitch skills, or a tank where they could use their Twitch skills, then removing the auto aim and forcing them to actually aim would be pretty amazing. That would.
And they've still got, as you said, they've still got the rage around. They've still got the spotting. Maybe you adjust the assist damage or something like that, or the spotting, parameters and so on, to make it worthwhile doing that.
Yeah.
So it's not about getting damage. It's about spotting for your teammates.
Right.
It's about raging around and having a bit of fun if that's the way you want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But you're not taking, as you say, you're not got this massive alpha at tier 10 where you're wrecking tanks.
Yeah.
But, it shouldn't happen. I don't know. Yeah, but that was interesting. He came up with that, and it was interesting that he was honest enough to admit it and say, we have a problem.
Right.
He actually said this will be dealt with this year. So when I'm not sure, but when you start to you talk wargaming, say 6 months or a year to put things into place. He's actually on about getting it done this year.
Yeah. Well, they talked about a lot of stuff other than just wheel tanks, though, right? What else? What else you got there? What other subjects were the main ones?
Well, it's quite interesting to find out that the British light tank line. We've gone through this before. Is that it was originally because of the stats seemed to be not really a line that anybody wanted to do,
right?
And yet, according to worldwide wargaming stats, the Manticore is the highest damage dealing light tank in the game. Now that says everything.
Well,
I've
covered that multiple times. I mean, obviously, I've been an advocate of those tanks as not necessarily the greatest tanks ever, but there's nothing wrong with them in terms of how they perform in the game, and the numbers are there. It's interesting that they're kind of shooting back at this point. Although Sircon's counter was the standard thing I've heard, and one of the I'm going to call it a rationalization, because most of what I hear people come back with when you say, hey, look, the Brit tanks are actually not as bad as you're saying. They're not the worst light tanks. In fact, performance-wise, they're generally in the middle. The Manticore is actually near the top, and the Setter is near the bottom. But they're kind of across the board. They're not all uniformly terrible. And the rationalizations are exactly what Sircon came back with as well. Only the good players are playing the Manticore. Look, there's enough games now. It's that's the same. Go ahead.
Yeah, data is data. If they're saying across, you look at wargaming, there are hundreds of thousands of players, and they're saying the top light tank in the game for damage dealing is the Manticore. It's not just the top players playing the Manticore.
So, but think about it this way, because this is the rationalization side and the cognitive dissonance, the thing that doesn't compute. In the case of the Manticore, which is considered a terrible tank and is doing well, the rationalization is, well, only good players play it. In the case of the 907 or the 279E or any of the other overpowered prize tanks that have huge stats, you get the answer of, well, they're not really overpowered, only good players play them. So can you just smell the bullshit at that point?
Absolutely.
Right? What's wrong with this picture? It's because the presumption before they went in was these are great because the stats are great, and then they came in on the Manticore, this is terrible because the stats are terrible, because I believe DPM is the thing that matters in the game, or whatever thing it is that you think matters the most in the game. So you have this situation where you have two different tanks performing at the top of the stats with relatively small battle counts in theory, played by good players, and you have two diametrically opposed, completely different opinions of why.
Yeah.
It's retarded. So I can't say that word.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm not allowed to say that word. But it is that. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to say the word, but when I say that word, it's not because I'm insulting some kind of person. It's because I'm insulting people who should know better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You are acting the fool. You sound like an idiot if you really stop for just a moment and think about it.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Anyway, I got all crazy.
I know, that's cool. And do you know what? One of the other things that came out from the interview, there was lots of little snippets. And seriously, to the community, go and watch the video. There's lots and lots of little snippets of information coming out.
Yeah.
For example, they're going to possibly introduce wheeled medium tanks in 2022 for the British line. We could discuss that all day long, but only after the wheeled tanks have been balanced, though, is what he said. So they are thinking about it long term.
Which is
means
a good
in 2022, the game is still going to be
right.
Here.
So that is an indication from here that in theory they're thinking about development and adding content to 2022.
Yeah.
That in itself is kind of one of those background good news things.
Yeah, and little things like, I didn't know this. When they come to rebalance vehicles, if it's an unpopular vehicle, it goes to the bottom of the list to be rebalanced. They're only interested at the moment in rebalancing the vehicles that are most popular and being played the most. Those that need rebalancing that are down and not being really popular, they stick them to the bottom of the list. So that's why the KV2. Oh, did I say KV2?
Yeah.
That's why the KV2 got looked at.
I wonder if they ever consider what the possible reason is that they're unpopular.
Because they're rubbish.
Because they haven't balanced them. God.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it comes out plus or minus 2
Yeah.
is staying. He's not interested in anything else. I mean, because Circle, I think, talked about.
They have been consistent on that for a long time. Yeah. Ever since they brought it down from the plus or minus 4 to 3 to plus or minus 2, they've stuck with that. I've talked about that a lot. I agree with it. I think it adds spice to the game. You don't want to be bottom tier all the time, and that was the problem with the 357 with certain tiers. I think largely their matchmaking fixes have greatly improved.
I think they've worked. Yeah. I really like the fact, and the other thing he came out with is he said 357 is not the first thing it looks at when an MM wants to deliver the game. The first thing they look at is how quickly can we deliver that game. Yeah. So it's about the speed of delivering the game. Then they look at the tank makeup and the tier makeup and so on and so on and so on. But the first thing that MM looks at, it's programmed to look at, is how quickly we can get this game on the go, irrespective of the breakdown. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I don't know if that's more a systemic thing, vice a prioritization to just churn out games. There's probably some of both in there. So I don't know if that's a technical aspect to how they built it. I thought the most interesting thing about the 357 discussion, the matchmaker discussion, did you catch the part where he talked about the reason 357 came up? One of the reasons they came up with the 357 is they looked at what the server was already making.
Yes.
And because there happened to be a pattern because of their tiering system and the number of players and tiers and things. There happened to be a kind of repeatable pattern they could see that was 357. The matchmaker was already sort of doing that based on the other rules that they had made, and I heard that and I went, that seems like a terrible reason to build.
That's like putting the cart before the horse, isn't it? That's like saying,
right.
We have a program which is tweakable. We can code it to do whatever we want it to do, but we've also built into that program, do your own thing. So it's doing its own thing. And then we go, well, that's a good idea. It's doing its own thing, and it's doing 357, so we'll make it 357. Then.
Yeah, see, that was weird. Yeah, exactly. That general idea of we have a problem with Matchmaker. What's it doing now? Well, it's making a lot of 357s. All right, well, let's make that the. I mean, I know I just simplified that, and I know there was more to it, but and I'm taking it off of one interview with the guy, but I did the RCA dog. I'm like, that's weird.
Very odd, very strange. And I think, really, I mean, generally overall, I got an impression that he's very much on side with the player base. But like every corporate guy, his hands are tied because he's got a team that is interacting with other parts of the company. So whatever his team is doing has to fit with everybody else in the company, what they're doing. But it was very interesting to see that he does recognise there are significant problems in the game, and they are making attempts at trying to get it right. But again, he came back to this 6 months to change anything thing.
Yeah.
That's one of the things he said. It takes 6 months to change anything. We have to look at the data. We have to prove it first before we can go to the company and say, it's not working right, let's change it.
Except that we know that that's BS because we've seen. I mean,
just like that.
Okay. To be fair, it's not BS. It is a good basic idea to gather data and make fact-based decisions.
Yeah.
I feel like there's several instances where they didn't really need to go through that whole process because it was blatantly obvious. And then in some cases they seem to have done that much faster than 6 months.
Yeah.
So they're flexible enough to do it, and they're sticking to their guns on what their process and policy is. But I feel like if they were a little more flexible in a couple other situations, they would have pleased the player base quite a bit, like fixing the 268 V4 faster. Taking care of some of these overpowered prize tanks, rather than sit around and let them, fester and cause issues. Dealing with the wheeled tanks faster than 6 months, or actually it's been a year in this case, right?
Yeah.
I mean, where's the 6 month process in the case of the wheeled tanks? How long have they been out? It's been a year, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
They must have had data collation now enough to be able.
They get played. They're some of the most played tanks in the game. So where's your 6 month process, man? What happened with this vaunted 6 month process that is data driven and fact based? You needed a year in the case of the wheel tanks. I think it was obvious in 2 months and 3 months. But here we sit, talking about the 6 month process, and we've blown through that signpost. It's a half a year behind us. So I mean,
exactly that.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Are we doing them a disservice? Do they have problems with interactivity within the company? So one section of the company saying, no, we're not changing that. And another part of the company saying, well, actually, we need to change that because it's affecting the player. But no. Well, I mean, as you said before, it could be somebody's baby.
That in the clear fact that they're very popular, and if they nerf them, they're going to lose players.
Yeah.
So that's where we are, really. I mean, they're just trying to delay the inevitable to just keep the players playing the game that like the EBRs. I'm sure they brought in, and they probably have the data, they've brought in a lot of people that probably only play those tanks.
Yeah.
Or that largely play those tanks. And they are going to get pushback. People are going to freak out. They're going to lose their minds. So they can't win one way or the other. They have to do calculations on which way is the best, worst way. And right now, they've decided that leaving them as they are is better for their company. So people like us, our community who don't like them, tough titty.
Yeah. It is. It's a business decision at the end of the day, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything they do is pretty much that. All right, what else was in there, man?
That's all I got, really. I picked out of the interview. There was loads in there, though. I mean, it's a 2 hour interview. It was a brilliant interview by Sercon. But those are the sort of main things that I looked at. The other thing I was quite interested to see, coming back to the wheelies. I know we're on the wheelies quite a lot, but they actually use. I know. Sorry.
Did you say wiggly?
But they used the 100 LT as the comparator.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's the competition. That's what they said. They said, wheel tanks are near the top, but they have a couple competitors. We were talking about that earlier. I'm like, a couple competitors. Yeah, that's like saying the guy that's 2 laps ahead in the race. Number 2 is competing, right? Because he's second. The guy can't even see him. He just lapped number 2. He laps number 2. He's like, oh, my competitor. Thank God I got away from him. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I'm only a lap or 2 ahead of that guy. My competitor. Okay.
Oh dear.
I guess technically it's correct. It is number 2. It's just 10,000 miles behind.
Have we done the wheels now? Do you think there's more to come?
Yeah. I thought you called them wigglies.
Oh well, you can call them anything you like.
I thought you coined a new term because how fast they can wiggle.
I think I can call them wigglies. That's a brand of chewing gum over here, but yeah, we'll go with that.
little wigglies. All right.
Wigglies.
I forgot. I forgot a thing I wanted to talk about. My anonymous
Yes.
episode.
Oh, yeah, you did that, didn't you, on
week of-
stream?
yeah, I played a week of anonymous, and I noticed exactly zero difference.
You didn't get focused at all then?
I mean, I did if I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, or if I was in the right
Okay.
place at the right time. If I was doing purple things, if I was
Right.
being aggressive, then I got shot at by Artie. That's kind of what it seemed like to me.
Right, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Well,
that bears
it's
out
all
what you've
anecdotal,
said.
you know what I mean? And I'm a pretty good player. I'm not a big name player, so there's a lot of things in there. There's nothing scientific about it. I never said it was going to be anyway. I just said I wanted to kind of get a feeling after the anonymizer had been out for a while, because really most of the answers are just feelings. I don't know. I didn't find it to be a better or worse gameplay experience.
Well, do you know what? That then bears out the whole point that we made before, is that unless you are a really well-known player, I guess you just don't get focused by Artie or whoever it may be. The only time you get focused is because you're in the right place at the right time, and you're already in the face of the enemy. You've been lit up, so immediately Artie goes, "Oh, there's a target. Let's go for it."
Or you're slow,
and again,
right?
I think it's class of tank as well. If you're in a really good tank and you are in the right place, then an Artie player or a TD player is going to go, well, I'm going to need to take him out. He's the top dog on their team.
Right,
He
right.
needs to go.
I don't know, man. Like I said, it's anecdotal. It's just my feelings on it. So take it for what it's worth.
Sure.
I didn't notice much difference.
Did you have any interesting names?
I had a lot of good names, but I started writing them down at first, and then I got rid of them. They're pretty funny. Some were fairly standard. Some were pretty darn funny.
Cool.
But I did see Guido at once. It was Guido with a number or something else on it. Guido was
Oh,
involved,
really?
and then Guido. There's a lot of Guidos if you search in there. There's a bazillion of them, especially down in South
Well,
America.
imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, isn't it? So,
Actually, my name was something different before, so maybe I'm imitating. All right, so that's the mid and low tier rebalance. Oh no, that's not what we were talking about. Mid and low tier rebalance stuff. Remember the contest we're doing is tier 7, and we've been trying to get a feeling. I saw one of the CCs had a was it 4,000 or 5,000? I think it was 5,000 damage. Tiger one game, and they were top tier, so 765, which meant the 6s and the 5s all had the extra hit points. So and 4,000 was doable in a Tiger anyway. It was a great game, but this was in a 7-6-5 game, which is highly unusual for a 7-6-5 game to drop that much. And the rest of his team did okay damage. It wasn't like he did all the damage in the game. So
okay.
Definitely-
Then this is the interesting thing. I mean, this is, like we said, for the competition, it's not a scientific thing, but
No.
it's a general feeling. If we've got 100 replays, and in each of those replays, I mean, I've got some examples from pre-change that we can look at, as the amount of damage that you would do in a tier 7, or is possible in a tier 7, given a makeup of a set game. And, we can do the comparative, but it's nothing scientific. But I think generally feeling, I played a few tier 7 battles, and it just feels like I'm racking up a lot more damage. It's, in the thousands as opposed to some of my games are in the hundreds.
It just stands to
interesting.
reason. I mean, obviously, there's a larger hit point pool out there, so you're going to end up doing. You got to end up doing a little bit more damage for the same given performance.
Yeah.
I notice it in the tier 5 and 6s I play, that it just the timing. You get a sense of the timing on how long it takes to DPM a tank out of the game, or DPS, or whatever you want to call it. A tank out of the game. You see that Ram 2 show up or whatever, and you know that's a 2 or 3 shot guy. And then you're on 3 or 4 or 5 shots, given a pin and all that stuff. You're like, okay, my timing feels a little weird. Why won't this guy die? Well, it's because he's got extra hit points.
That's exactly it. I was feeling that. Certainly in tier 5, tier 6, I was feeling that. I was thinking, I'm still having to shoot this guy. That's another 3 shots I put into him, and he's still alive. What's going on? And that's the effect of it, I guess.
Let's see. We're getting towards the end here, guys. The other thing, we were talking about this earlier. I would recommend going to the website and checking out the Heads or Tails video, which is the ongoing thing for Battle Pass, which is the Russian commander and whatever their names are. I can't remember at this point. It's actually pretty good because it does take some good shots at Artie. A pretty fun video. I would definitely recommend that one. I didn't care for the other 3. I think this is number 4, so they were okay. But this one actually kind of cracked me up. So a little talking back and forth between the Brit and the Russian commander there.
Yeah, he said. I think one of the comments was, "He owes me," or "I owe it," or something like that.
Yeah, I owe him. Yeah, they were hunting the Artie. He's like, the guy's like, "I'm taking him out" or something. He says, "Nope, he's mine. I owe him."
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
All right, man. So what else you got?
Oh,
you had some,
do you want a story?
Yeah, that's story time. It's story time, of course.
Story about my mother, bless her. She's gone now, bless her. But I'll give you a story. Back in 1985, right? And this is very applicable to the United States Navy.
Okay.
Back in 1985, we were posted out to Hong Kong, and which was nice. It was a colony then, as most countries have been, a colony of the United Kingdom. And I'll knock anybody down who says
sun never sets, man. The sun never sets.
So yeah. Anyway, 1985. There I was. I invited my mother out for a holiday because she would never have got to see Hong Kong. Little did I know that the time we organised her to come out is that the USS Nimitz and all its escort destroyers and everything else that hangs onto the back of that huge, wonderful ship berthed into the Hong Kong harbour. History to that is that Hong Kong harbour is one of the deep water harbours available in the Pacific or the East China Sea. So Nimitz comes into there as opposed to anywhere else. So at any one time, there was over 5,000 US servicemen on shore leave. There was a joint services club called the, it escapes me now anyway, but it used to go down to Hong Kong Island where we were stationed, and you used to go down to the China Fleet Club, that was what it was called. And it was available for Brits and US servicemen to go and have a drink, and there was a restaurant in there and everything.
Right.
So this one night, my mother was over, we took her down, and bearing in mind she was in her late 50s, early 60s now.
Did you know the Navy was there when you headed towards the restaurant?
Yeah, because where I lived at Stanley Fort, it overlooked the bay, so I watched the Nimitz go past my balcony.
So even with that information, you went on with your operation?
Yeah.
I mean, you had the intel.
Okay, yeah. Well, let me quantify that for you, because the US servicemen used to get issued a card, and on the card it said, "Do not fight with the British, do not drink with the British," and then you turn it over, it says, "Because they'll beat you on both counts." Right? So they get issued this card, right? So anyway. So yeah, having the essay, I thought, you know what, I'll take my mother down there, it'll be fine, Great. Now, there's a place in Hong Kong called the Ban Chai, which was like the red light district, and it was made famous by James Bond, Pussy Galore and all that sort of stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
Right. So we headed off down to the China Fleet Club, which was on Hong Kong Island, and we were sat in the club and we were having a couple of drinks. It was back in the day when I used to drink, and it was me, my wife, my mother, and there was 4 or 5 US Marine Corps, huge guys over at the bar, massive, huge. I mean, I'm only 5'6", right? So I'm like this, but and they were having a good time and everything, and we were having a good time. And one of the guys came over. He said, "Excuse me, sir." He said, "Do you mind if we join you?" And I said, "No, of course, by all means, being polite British, come and sit with us." Because my mother's like starry-eyed now. She's like, "Wow, look at all these big guys," So we had a couple of drinks and so on. And then the guy said, "Well, we're heading off down to the Ban Chai." And I went, "Oh, well, good luck with that. It's probably fun down there." I wouldn't know because the wife sat here. So, all that other good stuff. And they turned to my mother. They said, "Would you like to join us?" And I was like, I was looking at my mother. She goes, "Don't you dare say yes. Do not say yes." Trying to give her the daggers.
Let me guess. She said yes.
Yeah, she said yes. Well, anyways, and they were absolutely lovely, these guys. They said, "Look, we'll look after your mum. It's fine. We just, we'd like to take her out and we'll have a few drinks and all the rest of it." So anyway, off she went with the US Marines. Bless her. It made her day. It made her life. It made her whole week, fantastic. She was escorted by 4 or 5 US Marines.
So she partied in Hong Kong with 3 Marines.
5 foot tall. Yeah. So she come back about 2 hours later. She said, these lovely gentlemen, they took me down to the place called the Wan Chai. I went, I beg your pardon?
The what?
I said, the Wan Chai, which was the red light district.
Oh, yeah.
And I went, what? I said, you're joking. And she went, no, it was fine. She said, we went into this lovely bar. She said, but I had to go out and buy some T-shirts. I said, why? She said, because all the ladies had nothing on top, so I had to go and buy them T-shirts and make them wear them. And I was like, okay, mother, you've done your bit for society today. They had nothing on top. I would have got T-shirts.
These poor children don't have any clothes.
And I was like, oh, whatever.
Let's talk
Come on, we're going home.
Talk about that card when we had a card in the Boneheads in the 95th, and on the back of it, we'd go down to Key West or various deployments and stuff, and go out and have a good time. But the card on the back said, "I am a bonehead fighter pilot. Misfortune forces me to seek your assistance." If I could be given, if I could be given shelter and cover from the authorities, please call phone number XYZ.
Superb.
Misfortune forces me to seek your assistance.
There we go. Have we got anything else? I don't know.
No, man. I think that is it for today, man. That is it. Hey, all right, guys. So, what's the recap here? We've got obviously. Where is it? Tank Rewards is ongoing. We have Battle Pass that should switch out on the 10th. We have the anniversary, which will switch out tomorrow. There, I will stream on Monday from 4 to 6. I should stream on Friday. Anything else will be a pop-up. Check out the interview with Andrei Beletsky. Look for my interview with Savo and Avalon 304, which I'm going to do here in about an hour and a half, and I should have it out on Tuesday, provided that's a go and we get that sorted out. And definitely look at the Heads or Tails video, because it's short, which is nice. So if you got a short attention span, it's like 4 or 5 minutes, and it's actually pretty funny, pretty good stuff by Wargaming. Actually, usually I'm not a huge fan of their video attempts, but this one's pretty well done.
It's funny.
Yep. All right, that is all I've got from America. I'm signing off.
And that's from the UK. Take care.
Hey, wait a minute. We didn't talk about the salute thing.
Oh, well, we could do that, but it's left-handed because Discord swaps it round.
No, that's
we can talk about the salute.
It's left to you.
From, Guido?
It's left to you. It's left to you.
If I do that, what's that? That's left. That's my left hand.
That is your left hand.
Yeah,
I can see that. You are seeing it mirrored in Discord, and I see mine.
Right.
This is my right hand, and it looks like my left hand. It looks like my left hand. So I see you correctly because you and I are mirrored on our own Discord, which people have mentioned to me. Like, hey, Guido, do you know it's mirrored? Actually, I do. I looked it up on the interwebs, and it's a known issue with Discord. It's just because that makes it easier for you to do things when you're looking at yourself.
Oh, okay, yeah, because otherwise you're like, oh, which side is it?
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So if I reach that way, it's correct for me. It makes sense because I can reach over and I'm trying to grab Pilgrim right there. Otherwise, I'd have to go the other way. So
I'm going that way to grab you.
Yeah, exactly. See, there, grab me. See, okay. You're going the wrong way. Now, if I go this way, yeah, you can squash each other. Just, the salute thing.
Where does the salute come from?
So the salute thing. First of all, it's not this.
Oh, it is.
No, it's that. All right, come on.
Yeah.
I used to the Brit guy.
Longest way up, shortest way down.
Yeah.
Longest way up, shortest way down.
The Brit guy I knew, the RAF pilot I flew with, I would always give him that as I went by. The salute.
Now, okay. Before we come on to where the salute come from, you see, the Navy. I do the old U.S. Marine thing. The Navy do this. The Air Force just go whatever.
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah, whatever.
Get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. The salute. That's right. We talked about this. So the salute is from the Knight's Age, from the Middle Ages kind of idea, that they were flipping up the visor so that they could see each other. And you added in the fact that you would do it with your right hand, your weapon hand. Typically, it's your weapon hand, which meant you're not pulling your sword or a warhammer or whatever it is weapon you had. You're flipping up your visor, showing your face and showing your hand.
hand,
which is a kind of a peaceful sign. If you met some random, knight or something along the way, or if you were, you had a train of guys with you, it's putting up your visor and saluting, that you're not going after each other. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Friendly fire in those battles was a thing.
Yes, and then the final aside to saluting is that in the British forces we salute the commission that the person is holding, the Queen's Commission, as opposed to the person itself. So even if you don't like the guy, you have to salute him, because you're not saluting him, you're saluting the Queen's Commission.
It's the same thing for us. It's the rank.
Right,
it doesn't matter that he's a dirtbag. You're saluting that he's a colonel or a lieutenant colonel. Or
I'm not saying all officers are like that, but it goes with the territory.
I have saluted plenty of people that didn't deserve it.
No, exactly.
The rank did.
Yes,
so it's a good thing it was the rank and not the person. Otherwise, some of them would never be saluted.
The salute would have been slightly different.
They might have actually been kicked in the jimmy as they went by.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're signing off. This is Guido with the proper salute. See ya.
This is Pilgrim signing off from the UK. Take care, guys.
Later, guys.